off with two quick questions. So the first one is, do you take Adderall on a regular basis? And second question, do you drink alcohol on occasion? If you answered yes to both of these questions, this video is for you. So today I'm going to talk about the safety of taking Adderall on a regular basis and combining it with alcohol. I get this question asked so many times in pharmacy, so it's really a pretty relevant topic for a lot of you guys out there. You're going to want to stay tuned till the end. And also, please make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that notification button so you don't miss out on my videos. And let's get into my pharmacist advice. So the first thing we're going to talk about is how Adderall and alcohol are broken down in the body. We're going to focus on Adderall first. So there are enzymes in our bodies, they're in the liver cells, and they're called cytochrome P450s. For this video, we're just going to call them CYP450s. It's easier to say that, it's an abbreviation, so CYP450s. Now these enzymes, what they do is they break down medications, they break down substances, they break down toxins that we have ingested into our bodies. With Adderall specifically, there's a certain type of CYP450 that really metabolizes the most of the Adderall. So it's called CYP2D6. Now, the interesting thing about CYP2D6 is it actually can be really affected by your genetics. So people can be poor metabolizers, they can be intermediate metabolizers, they can be efficient metabolizers or ultra rapid metabolizers of drugs that are metabolized by CYP2D6. So right from the get-go, everyone is very different based on their genetics, and so you can't really determine your level of Adderall and how quickly it's metabolized in your body. There are lots of other factors that go into the metabolism of Adderall, but for our purposes, we're just going to focus on the CYP2D6. Moving on to how alcohol is broken down in the body. So about 10% of the alcohol we consume goes through what's called first pass metabolism. And first pass metabolism is really easy to understand. It's basically, so some of the alcohol you drink is going to go from your stomach to your liver to your bloodstream. Now, when it's in the liver, some of those CYP450s that we talked about earlier are going to help metabolize and break down that alcohol. So the problem is, if you already have Adderall in your system, there's already CYP450s that are working really hard in your liver to break down the Adderall to get it out of your body. So if you introduce alcohol into that mix, you have another substance that also has to be metabolized by these CYP450s to be excreted. So you could have increased exposure to the Adderall because there's more competition for those CYP450s that are in your liver. Based on the fact that the Adderall and the alcohol both go through the cytochrome P450s in the liver, it would make sense that you could have elevated levels of Adderall in your system. And I wanted to look into more studies on the topic just to kind of see what I could find. So I went to my favorite website, PubMed, and when I looked it up, there were really only like 3 case reports of the combination of alcohol with Adderall. And 2 of them were in adolescents, so much younger kids, and then one of them was in a 20-year-old, and they all had the same outcomes. So with the 20-year-old, he had been studying late at night. He took 2 of his Adderall, so normally I guess he'd only take 15 milligrams of Adderall. He took 30 milligrams of the short-acting to kind of stay up. When he was done studying, he drank some whiskey, and he did this a couple nights in a row. And what ended up happening is he had a heart attack. So, it would make sense that you could have cardiac issues if you have too high of a level of Adderall in your system. And that's what happened to also the adolescents that they had the case reports on. They had alcohol, they combined it with Adderall, and they had heart attacks. So those are kind of the things that could end up happening if you do combine the 2. And the one thing to note is the 20-year-old, he had like a prior heart condition, so that was kind of already in his history, which could maybe lead to the fact of why he had the heart attack. Maybe it really just wasn't strictly the Adderall and alcohol, but those are just definitely things to think about. Now we come down to the really hard part of the video. So what are we going to conclude from all of this? Overall, I would just say it's very, very complicated. So obviously, if you have a family history of heart disease, if you have heart disease, if you have structural abnormalities in your heart, you should avoid alcohol completely if you are taking Adderall. Just don't drink. That would be obviously the best advice out there. And for those of you out there who are otherwise healthy, you don't have a family history of heart disease, you don't have heart disease, you don't have high blood pressure, high cholesterol, arrhythmias, on and on and on. I know most of you are probably still going to drink if you already were drinking before. So the safest thing I could say would be to not drink the same day you take your Adderall. So the half-life of Adderall is around 10 hours, and typically when we're talking, it takes around 5 half-lives to have the drug completely out of your system. So that would mean with Adderall, since it has a 10-hour half-life, multiply that by 5 hours, it's going to take around 50 hours, which would be around 2 days to be completely out of your system. Now, for a lot of people, like, they're not going to separate their Adderall 2 days before they drink. It's just not going to happen. So at least if you separate it by a day or so, you take your Adderall in the morning and then you don't drink until the next day in the evening, I mean, you really have quite a space of quite a few hours there. So the Adderall will be mostly out of your system. And I really think that's the safest way to do it, is just do not drink and take Adderall in the same day. If you're going to take your Adderall, then do not drink. Now, I know it's really hard for a lot of people, but if you just think about that there could be really negative consequences, there could be heart attacks, scary things like that, it's just better to be safe than to be sorry. Alright guys, that's all I have in store for you for today. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and please put in the comments below any ideas for drug safety questions you guys have. I'm trying to come up with different videos that are relevant for questions that people have very often at the pharmacy. I'm hoping today's topic was a little more relevant for all of you guys, and I'm really open to suggestions. So if you guys have any great ideas for questions you have for pharmacists and drug safety, put them in the comment section and I will make videos for them. Please make sure you guys stay tuned next Monday, a new video to follow with Pharmacist Advice.